We need to expand Social Security benefits. In fiscal year 2022, Navy auditors found $4.4 billion in untracked inventory. They just lost it. Hey, what's $4 billion among friends when you got $1 trillion to play with?
$57 in your pocket. Bernie Sanders asks, what is $4 billion? Well, divided by 70 million Social Security recipients, that comes out to $57 to every Social Security recipient instead of going into some greedy billionaire's pocket. Now, Bernie Sanders also talks about expanding Social Security. We all know about his bill to give an extra $2,400 in Social Security checks, but Bernie Sanders actually backs another bill, which is going to increase benefits by more than $2,000, actually, to be exact, $2,900. I'm going to go over that bill, play the full video clip of Bernie Sanders, let you know the latest of what's going on with that other bill, the Social Security Fairness Act in Congress, as it is supposed to have a vote any day now, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Before I dive into the main content, if you appreciate these Social Security updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Social Security updates. We're going to go over these articles right here. Senate plans to vote on the bill that will increase Social Security benefits. I'll let you know what the latest is with that. We'll talk about this right here, Social Security benefit to increase more than $2,000 under new bill. It is not the Social Security Expansion Act, which is also headed by Bernie Sanders. But first, let's take a listen to Bernie Sanders, and I'll go over these important articles.
Mr. President, as the holiday season approaches, it is an appropriate time to talk about our national priorities, where we are as a nation, and where we should be going into the future. Right now, tonight, as we assemble here in Washington, D.C., there are thousands of people in this city and in the surrounding areas who are sleeping out on the streets. And that is not just Washington, D.C., it is almost every major city in the country. And when we talk about the housing crisis, it's not just homelessness. It is a reality that millions of people in Vermont and throughout this country are paying 40, 50, 60% of their limited incomes for housing. We have a major housing crisis. We need to invest in low-income and affordable housing. Mr. President, today in the United States, in the richest country in the history of the world, which today has more income and wealth inequality than it has ever had, while the very rich become much richer, 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, and millions of workers are earning starvation wages, barely enough to stay alive. The time is long overdue when we talk about our national priorities, that this Congress pass a livable minimum wage, raise that minimum wage to a livable level so that no worker in this country who works 40 hours a week lives in poverty. Not a radical idea. Mr. President, in the United States today, we have a broken and dysfunctional healthcare system whose major function is not to provide quality, affordable care to our people, but to make billions in profits for the insurance companies and the drug companies. And the truth is that while 85 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured, while 60,000 die each year because they don't get to a doctor on time, the insurance companies and the drug companies make tens of billions of dollars a year in profit. Mr. President, the time is long overdue for the United States to do what every other major country on earth does, and that is to guarantee health care to all people as a human right. And in my view, the most efficient way to do that is to pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. Mr. President, unbelievably, in this wealthy nation, in which 3 people on top own more wealth than the bottom half of our society, we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any developed country on earth. And on top of that, millions of parents, working class parents, cannot find affordable or quality child care. We need to make quality child care available for all. Mr. President, in America today, unbelievably, in my view, 25% of senior citizens in our country are trying to survive on $15,000 a year or less. $15,000 a year. I don't know how anybody in America, no matter where you live, let alone if you are a senior citizen with additional health care and other needs, I don't know how anybody survives on $15,000. We need to expand Social Security benefits by lifting the cap on taxable income so that every senior in this country can retire with dignity and security. And Mr. President, those are just a few of the things that, in my view, we should be doing in Congress if we are representing the needs of all Americans and not just wealthy campaign contributors and the top 1%. But tonight I want to say a few words about something that we should not be doing. And that is, in the coming days, with almost no debate, we should not be passing the National Defense Authorization Act, which provides some $900 billion for the Department of Defense, a little bit less than that, $895.2 billion. And when spending on nuclear weapons and emergency defense funding is included, the United States will spend this year close to $1 trillion on the military. $1 trillion on the military, and a few blocks away from here, people are sleeping out on the streets. Mr. President, while middle class and working class families are struggling to survive, we supposedly just don't have the financial resources to help them. We just cannot afford to build more housing. We just cannot afford to provide quality child care to our kids, or to support public education, or to provide health care to all. Just can't afford to do that. But when the military-industrial complex and all of their well-paid lobbyists come marching in to Capitol Hill, somehow or enough, there is more than enough money for Congress to provide them with virtually everything that they need. The military-industrial complex speaks, and Congress responds. Mr. President, of that nearly $1 trillion that will be voted on in the next few days, about half will go to a handful of hugely profitable defense contractors. The Pentagon accounts for about 2/3 of all federal contracting, obligating more money every year than all civilian federal agencies combined. Yet the Pentagon remains the only major federal agency that cannot pass an independent audit. The Department of Defense still cannot accurately account for their finances more than 30 years after Congress made it a requirement under federal law. In the most recent failed audit attempt, the Department of Defense still could not fully account for huge portions of its more than $4 trillion in assets. The GAO, the Government Accountability Office, reports that the Defense Department cannot accurately post transactions to the correct accounts. Each year, auditors find billions of dollars the Pentagon didn't even know it had. In fiscal year 2022, Navy auditors found $4.4 billion in untracked inventory. They just lost it. Hey, what's $4 billion among friends when you got $1 trillion to play with? So, Mr. President, I don't often agree with Elon Musk. I agree with him very, very rarely. But he is right when he says the Pentagon, and I quote, has little idea how its annual budget of more than $800 billion is spent, end quote. That's Musk. Mr. President, the inability to track taxpayer dollars has allowed within the Defense Department massive fraud, massive amounts of waste, and unbelievable amounts of cost overruns. Defense contractors routinely overcharge the Pentagon by 40%, and sometimes much higher than that. For example, just one example.
What are your thoughts on what Bernie Sanders had to say? I find it really interesting that he is actually agreeing with Elon Musk. Who would have thought Bernie Sanders would agree with Elon Musk? Anyways, let's get into this. So Social Security benefits do increase more than $2,000 under new bills. So some Social Security benefits could increase by over $2,000 if new bill passes. So we have the Social Security Fairness Act in Congress. That seems to be taking up all their time, and they're barely able to somehow pass that. With this one, this is a really important bill as well. When a Social Security beneficiary dies, their family members can also get survivor benefits through a lump sum. For years, the amount has remained at $255 and has stayed that way since 1954. So with this bill, the amount, this bill is also supported by Democratic Senator Peter Welch from Vermont, is pushing this bill, which could increase the benefit up to $2,900 to better reflect today's inflation levels. Also supported by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. So with this bill, it would cover the funeral costs, and it would bring it up to $2,900. So this bill could actually go over $2,000 up to $2,900 if this bill passes. Right now, Social Security Fairness Act is taken up all the time. Also, we have a government shutdown coming. So Congress has to do these things, which may seem like it's a lot that they're doing, but really this should have been done months ago. Should have been done years ago when it comes to Social Security, but Social Security the government shutdown should have been taken care of a while ago. Anyways, that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, it's Bella tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing that you should do. Do the things that scare you the most, because after you do that, you become a better person. Bye.
If you haven't heard, one congressman has spoken about cuts to Social Security. I actually have the full video clip of what he's talking about when it comes to cuts. You're going to want to see that. So click that video now as I'll show you the Democrat and Republican perspectives on cutting Social Security. Both two video clips. So click that video now and I'll see you in that video. Take care. Be safe. Thank you for watching.